I've never needed one of these in my life before, you know. It's a very cool deal. I just want you to know that. My name is Mike Conway. I'm an alcoholic, recovered alcoholic. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you guys for letting me be here. This is a very cool thing, recovery for families. I mean, it's close to my heart. My family is in recovery. My wife's in Al-Anon. My son is 10 years in Al-Anon. So absolutely love it. You know, families get sick together. Families can get well together. I absolutely believe that. And those of you who are Al-Anon members, you know that we say to folks, you know, you can see what the drinking has done to your loved ones, but maybe you haven't been able to see what it's done to you. And, you know, it's a family thing. Just want to try to get some housekeeping out of the way, just so you know I'm legit. My sobriety date is September 10th of 1983. That means here in about a month I'm going to have 41 years. I appreciate that, but you guys know that's all about the program and God. It's not about me, you know. Trust me, I tried my way 1,000 times. And the only reason it worked is because I stopped trying my way and I tried it your way. But God has been very good to me. I have a home group. I am not homeless. My home group is the Common Solution Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. We meet on Monday nights at 8:30, 2701 Zollinger Road in Columbus, Upper Arlington. You're all welcome. And if you come up there, just say you're a personal guest of mine. They'll even get you a cup of coffee. How about that? But I'd love to have you there if you can make that trip. It's a group that I started about 21 years ago. And actually the reason, I'll share with you the reason that we started that. There's some guys, and I'm hoping Springfield's not like this, at least when I was here 15 years ago or whatever it wasn't. But we had a lot of guys who were saying, you know, I'm not hearing much recovery. I'm hearing a lot of drunk stuff, hearing a lot of bad stuff, but I'm not hearing much recovery. People were sharing the pain, but they weren't sharing how to get well. And they're asking me, because I guess I'm the old head around there. They said, well, what do we do? And I said, well, geez, man, you're talking to the choir. It just seems like it becomes more that we can't get the alcoholics in, we can't get the non-alcoholics out. And hearing a lot of treatment stuff and stuff like that, but not much of AA. And I said, but the only thing that I know that might bear on this, that might help, is the big book says you must build the recovery that you require. You must build it. It doesn't exist, and that's what we did. So that meeting that we're talking about is a closed discussion meeting. Very few of those anymore. And I'm sure you guys know that the difference is closed is for alcoholics only. Anymore, if you look in your book, 90% of the meetings are open. So where's the alcoholic who knows he's an alcoholic, who wants to work on the issues, work on them if they're not closed? And we're a throwback meeting, and so what we do, we model ourselves after the groups that were in the 30s, 40s, and 50s when we boasted about an 85% recovery rate. I'm glad to tell you we have a lot of sober folks there. Not much Monday Night Football at 8:30. I haven't seen Monday Night Football live in, I don't know, a long time. I have a sponsor. My sponsor is 58 years sober. And one of the cool things about that is I'm his baby. At 41, almost 41 years, I'm his baby. He's got at least 5 or 6 men that are 50 years or better. So that's pretty cool. I like being the baby. It keeps me green, you know. I keep asking those questions, learn from them old heads. Probably like you guys do too. Yeah. So my story. I just want to share with you, I am not here to be entertainment. If there's supposed to be entertainment here, I'm sure it'll be something else. I'm here, as the book directs me, rolling up my sleeves, guys, as the book directs me to talk about what I was like, what happened, and what I'm like now. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm also going to try not to offend you by doing a drunk-a-log. I'm certain you probably know what a drunk-a-log is. A drunk-a-log is where a person comes up here and from whatever understanding they have, they want to share with you all the terrible things that happened to them. And I don't know why that is. I really don't know why that is. You know, the disease of alcoholism isn't about the consequences that you have while drinking. It's not. The disease of alcoholism is about no choice and no control with alcohol. How many consequences you have. It's even in the book, you know. It talks about women and young people, they're not going to have the long histories that some of us do, and they're not going to go through a lot of the things. So those things I'm going to try to make sure that I avoid. I'm not going to bore you with that stuff. I just want to tell you what I was like, what happened, what was like now. What I was like. Well, okay. Born in Columbus, 71 years old now. And I was raised in alcoholism. I was raised in alcoholism. And so what does that mean exactly? Well, what that means exactly is back there in that Genesis, in that upbringing, I learned a lot of the things that were going to soon become my shortcomings or defects that we call them. Well, like what, Mike? Well, I learned firsthand what fear was. I'm not talking about Freddy Krueger. I'm not talking about Halloween. I'm talking about when we have to move in the middle of the night. I'm talking about the screaming, the yelling, and the violence that were going on downstairs when I'm a little boy upstairs trying to sleep. I'm talking about mixed messages. I love you, smack. I love you, smack. I love you, smack. I learned what anxiety was. Anxiety was, at least for me, when you just don't really know what keeps you okay. What allows you to fly under the radar and be okay. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Monday I go to school, I get a C on my report card, and they say, well, you know what? You need to try harder. You need to apply yourself. You're smarter than that, and that's Monday. Wednesday I come in with a C on my report card, and I get locked in the closet, and I don't get dinner. There's never really a constant. And as a result of that, I don't know what's happening here, really. Learn how to be a people pleaser. See, for me, it was really important to make the big people who held all of your means of survival, keep them happy. I learned that the most frightening place for me in my home was the dinner table, because something was going to happen, and you just hoped at that time you were invisible. So I also didn't have any self-value. You guys know what that is. No self-value. I was told things like, children should be seen and not heard. I brought you in, I could take you out and make another one. And there didn't seem to be any time for me. I was a mess. I was a mess. It seemed to me, too, as I got a little bit older and I was starting to look around, it seemed to me like other people seemed to have this answer in life that I just didn't have. They had a book or a guide or something that I did not have. Now, I know today that wasn't true. I know today, just like my big book tells me that I was an actor, they were actors too. But see, I'm a kind of guy that I compare my insides to your outsides. So if you're acting like you got it all together, you're hip, slick, and cool and all that, then why am I not? So I was a mess. I was a mess. And I left that home out in the world. They let me out. And I tried to make those broken tools work. And I guess anybody sitting here who's a real alcoholic understands how that worked out. Not so good. I just didn't seem to fit in, or at least I didn't feel like I did. I always felt less than. So that was me. You talk about restless, irritable discontent. I guess I was probably restless, irritable, and discontent when I was 7. Because I sure needed some relief, and it wasn't coming. It would come later, though, as you guys know. So that's the way I went along until high school. I survived till high school. And some people laugh, don't know exactly what I mean. I just made it through. Just kept my feet moving. And when I got in high school, 2 really important things for me happened. I went to a school that I'm sure you probably understand. It was called a jock school. And what that meant is simply that they put a high importance on athletics. Athletics was a big thing. And I was able to see that the athletes got attention. The athletes were somebody that got notoriety. The athletes could go to class, and if they cut up and get in trouble, the coach would vouch for them. They'd get out of trouble. Sometimes they didn't come to class, they'd still get a passing mark. Girls seemed to like them And I liked that. Now, girls were a whole new world for me. I was terrified of them, but they were pretty and they smelled good, and I kind of liked them. So and there, by the way, there's nothing that's me. Nothing. So as a result of that, what happened was every time they had a tryout for some athletics, I was in that tryout line. And you know what? It worked. It worked. I didn't have much, but at least I could say, hey, I play ball. And a lot of times I may not know you in that high school, but you knew me because I could wear my jersey on Friday. And, I was somebody at the high school hangout, And that was something because I had nothing. There was nothing that's really me. So I did that. And it worked. It worked. Now, that's even not unusual if you think about it, because what I found out was people, as they go into high school, they start to form groups. And I was in, like, with the jocks, and there was the brains, and there was the artistic people, and there was the hoods, and you know what I mean? So I guess everybody tries to gain some notoriety, some support, some identification and fellowship, and that was my thing. That was the first thing that happened for me. It was really important. If nothing else, I got something that's me. I play ball Friday night, right? But the second most important thing happened, one of the most important things in my life, and you'll see why. I don't know if you do. I'm sure you'll understand what I'm talking about. If not, we had a Friday night after the football game hangout where the guys and gals congregate, and you just fellowship, have some fun. And we had one. And on this particular Friday night, I was going to this establishment and going around the corner, and there were two of my teammates around the side of that. And I could see what they were doing. They were pulling on a paper sack. Well, there might be people who didn't know what that was, but as I said, I was raised in alcoholism. I knew exactly what they were doing. And as they came around there, my two teammates said, hey, man, why don't you come on over and drink with us? And you guys probably know what I said, right? What I said was hell no. Just like a lot of you probably did. And the reason I said that, and I went on to explain to them, that's not a joke to me. I've seen the violence and the divorce and everything that comes with drinking, and I'm not going to do it. But that's not where they left it. It's not where they left it. They said, well, what's the matter with you? You mommy's boy, you sissy, too good to drink with us? Well, I got nothing, guys. And I'm an alcoholic, I'm a guy that wants to overprove a point. So I took that bag, I turned it up. And I'm sure, you guys can imagine, 17, 18, you're playing, can't really get anything. I'm sure it was some kind of rot gut. In my day, some of you guys will know this, MD 2020, Thunderbird. That's some wicked business, man. That's no joke, And I drank that stuff. And something happened that Bill Wilson talked about that happened to me. And if you're a real alcoholic sitting in here, it happened to you too. And what happened was I got an abnormal effect from the alcohol that I just imbibed. Abnormal. That abnormal effect was, this is the greatest stuff going. I don't know. It made me feel warm. I liked it. It just something, well, not something, everything changed. And when I'm talking about change for the better. You see, before the drink, I'm a people pleaser. Your opinion's my opinion. I'm scared of everything. I don't mess with girls, but after the drink, you know what? The guy that hates violence is the guy starting stuff. The girls you're terrified of, I'm the one obnoxious and pitching them on the butt, And it doesn't sound like much, but it was finally letting that little tortured kid out of the cage. And it's not much living, but it was a lot better than what I was going through. And I made a decision right then. I'm going to do this again. This is the answer. It stopped all the crazy in my brain. It stopped all the pain that was in my gut. It stopped. It made me, or at least I believed it did, something different. And when I say different up here, guys, I'm talking about better. And so that's what I did. I drank. Now, I've got a short drinking career. I do. So, I don't know, what is that, 17, 18, can't remember the year. And I got sober at 30. So, why I say that is you don't have to drink forever to hit a real bottom and to be in the kind of pain that we're in to decide to change your life. I know that. So, that was the start of it for me. And I didn't understand a lot of things. And I didn't understand a lot of things that I wasn't going to understand until I came to you guys, to be honest. And some of those things was critically important that I did not understand. Like, one of them was that alcoholism parallels addiction. And I think my friend told me that this is open for AAs and addicts and Al-Anons. I'm an AA Al-Anon, but don't you think that I don't have a lot of addict friends, because I do. Okay? But why this is important is because I didn't understand it. And see, the way addiction goes, and a lot of you already know this, I didn't know this then, is by the nature of addiction, because it's being used compulsively, you must use more often to get to okay. I'm an alcoholic just like you guys. Never drank to get drunk. Never drank to go to jail. Never drank to lose my kids. Never drank for those reasons. As a matter of fact, the reason later that I was drinking for those reasons, so that stuff doesn't happen. All I'm doing is I want to find out whatever okay is. What I want to do is be able to drink enough, the ease and comfort that comes from a few drinks. Remember that from your book? To be able to pat my dog, mow my lawn, and just be normal. Whatever is normal. Now, I still don't know what normal is. I'm still trying to be normal, I guess, but I don't know what that is. And that's what I'm trying to do. Whatever normal is. But you know, see, I'm alcoholic. And I always overshoot the mark. I'm always more or less kind of drunk. So I'm drinking more often. More often. I don't know why. They keep moving what's okay. How do you feel okay? They keep moving it. As a matter of fact, you guys that are addicts, you will understand very clearly, because if you do this and you get sober for a minute, you go back to the shot that you were using before, there's a real good chance it'll kill you. It's called the hot shot, right? I didn't know that. And you know what? Even if I did, I don't know if I'd have cared, because, again, if it's working, it's working. And it was working. Well, my wife didn't understand that. My family didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. But I got to do this, see. I got to do this. This is what's keeping me together. See, a lot of people understand alcoholism. And a lot of people don't. I didn't understand how it was until I came here. I really didn't. Alcoholism is not the problem of over-drinking alcohol. If somebody here thinks that, pick up your book or talk to me after this and I will share with you, it is not that. Matter of fact, from your own experience that you know, anybody that over-imbibes can have consequences, can't they? Anybody. Okay? So that's not it. So what it is I'm alcoholic, right? So I drink because I can't not. I drink not to get drunk. I drink to be okay. It's not about drinking alcohol. It's about when I don't have any alcohol to drink. You see, because when I don't have any alcohol to drink, I can't stand you. I can't stand me. I don't like life. I don't like nothing about this crap. But again, I go back to a few drinks. Things mellow out. I can be okay. All right. I can fake it till you make it. Boy, try that. Fake it till you make it. Who came up with that one? Some crazy person somewhere. I was just trying to get along, man. Just trying to get along. I didn't want trouble. I was tired of being in trouble, but I can't stop. Can't just say no. Give me a break. I can't stop. You see, I didn't understand another thing about alcoholism that maybe you guys do. It's genetic. What genetic disease can be cured? I'll help you. None. And I got the genetic disease of alcoholism. You know what? Wouldn't take very long for me to figure that out. Every male member of my family died of alcoholism. Everyone. My brothers, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, they're dead. And the women are the ones running around trying to fix up the mess after they do stuff. That's called codependent. I don't know if you heard that before. That's why you go down. Over-responsible, right? So I'm drinking to live and living to drink. And I am in bad shape. I'm in bad shape. I don't know what to do. You know, I found it's really hard to solve a problem when you don't know what the problem is. Now, a lot of people were starting the buzzwords of, hey, Mike, maybe you got a drinking problem. Maybe you should start, trying to control it, which, by the way, I was. Okay? Maybe you have a drinking problem. I said, no, if you knew what this did for me, you wouldn't even say that. This is how I stay sane. This is how I keep on the planet. And while it's working, I'm not interested in what you think I ought to do. I'm not interested. It's working. My pain is gone. My crazy's gone. I feel like something. I don't have to feel pain. And by the way, for me, a lot of the times I was using alcohol, it was a painkiller. It was the painkiller of Mike being in life. And it worked. So when you say, maybe I got a drinking problem, say, yeah, thank you very much. Talk to you later. So I drank. I was out of control. I was doing the real thing that you guys already know about. I was living to drink and drinking to live. I was chasing the bottle in everything that I did. And really my life was amounting to the fact that I'm just trying to do the things I got to do so I can continue to drink. It flipped. I'm not doing drinking so I can do life. I'm doing life so I can afford to keep on drinking. And of course, that's not going to last very long, right? It gets a point where, if you're like me, you're unemployable. Don't worry about health care. Don't worry about much of anything else. Did the geographical cure. You guys know what that is. Did the cure, and every time I went there, I was already waiting. I was already there. But I don't know what the problem is, because see, y'all heard that denial stuff? How many times is denial in the big book? I'll help you again. 0. You want to know what? That's great for treatment. 0. But I'll tell you what it does say, that was the truth for me, is it says that I will drink to a point of delusion. You know what delusion is? I can tell you. It cannot differentiate the false from the real. I don't know what's really going on here. Delusional. And why wouldn't I be? I drank every day for years, as much as I could. I was pretty crazy. Heck, if you do egg salad every day for years, you probably are going to have some problems. And I did. I had some problems. I'm using a strong psychoactive substance every day, all day for years. You think I was crazy? Yeah, which is not the second step, and I'm going to try to get there. Nuts. And all those things that I drank over, remember that kid that was coming up? All those things that it helped me with, now it doesn't. It stopped. It's not working. I'm scared all the time. All that stuff's still true. I'm not answering the phone, pulling the curtains, the whole thing. Now, not only is it not stopping that stuff, that pain that I was drinking for, now it's creating a lot more big problems. I mean big problems, right? Now we're talking about jail. We're talking about institution. We're talking about divorce. We're talking about that. And I'm a mess. Took some geographical cures. And geographical cures were great for me because they lasted for a minute. I'm going to tell you why. Because I knew that most of the time, where I was going to go, my reputation preceded me. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you're closet drinkers. Maybe that's not true for you. But with me, yeah, people say, Mike's coming and that guy, whoo, whoo, whoo. Right? And so I knew that. Hey, don't you think our kind of people are not shrewd and sharp? No. Think about that. We live with a full-blown addiction or disease and keep it together for years. You got to be pretty sharp. All the time your disease or your addiction is cutting the legs out, you're still trying to go to work. You're still trying to keep the family fed. You're still trying to be a decent human being. But it can't last, right? So in the geographical, I try to make sure that whatever you heard wasn't true. I was the nicest guy in the world. Wouldn't, drink? Nah, no thank you. You know, right? Because, see, I know something you guys probably know. We are sharp people and we can read people. I'm going to build that up. So you say, what? He's a nice guy. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, that guy. And as soon as you thought that, or I knew you thought that, and I did, guess what I do? Off to the races again. So I'm drinking and drinking and drinking, and now things are, rubber's hitting the road. I'm doing Groundhog Day in hell. It's terrible every day. There ain't no answer. I don't know what to do. So I run back home. And the only reason I ran back home, I was in Mississippi, I ran back home. The only reason I did that is because I thought the only human beings on the planet that even care if I live or die are here. And that's what I did. Well, in that time, by the way, I came in 1980. Went through Maryhaven. You probably heard of Maryhaven. Yeah, okay. No better, no worse than any other 30-day treatment. But see, guys, I am not here to change my life. I'm here, unfortunately, maybe like some of you are. I just want you to teach me how not to go to the penitentiary. I want you to teach me some responsible drinking. Okay? But I am not here to swallow the pill. I am not here to change my life. And by the way, that coffee and God stuff, I'll tell you where you can put that. No, that was me. I'm an arrogant guy. Back there doing this, sitting on my throne of contempt. Yeah, you need it, yeah. Right? That was 1980. 1983, I'm running back home as fast as I can. 1983, when I came back, there was a guy that went through treatment with me, and coincidence is where God works in your life but remains anonymous. I'm back home. I ain't been home in years, right? Nobody knows I'm here. And guess who shows up? That buddy of mine from treatment. And he knocks on the door, he comes in, and I told him the truth. We're talking. And I told him the truth about my drinking. Through a bunch of tears and slobber. For whatever reason, I told him the truth. He said, well, you know what, Mike? I still think you got a drinking problem. I said, Eric, no. Listen, man, I have figured it out. I'm not an alcoholic. I'll tell you what I am. And it's one of two things. And I hope somebody out there is not thinking this, but you're going to hear me. I said, Eric, I think I'm crazy, you see. And I can go back, Eric, and bring you all kinds of stuff that show you I'm crazy. Man, I don't do stuff I want to do. I hurt people I love. I'm crazy. I don't seem to be able to do anything about that. And I said, if it's not that, Eric, then I'm just bad. The people in my family warn me about people that get bad and they don't get good again and they're bad. And I said, again, I can show you. I do evil, bad stuff I don't believe in, stuff I wasn't raised to. He was a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous. He was just like you guys and just like what you would say. And he said, you know what, maybe that's true. But tell you what, let's work on your alcohol and see if anything changes. Saved my life. I was convinced. I thought being an alcoholic was the easy, cheap way. And he was able to get me into the House of Hope. I went into the House of Hope. Now, it's hard for me to tell you about that guy that brought the... by the way, he wasn't home watching TV. He didn't have a full schedule, what he wanted to do. He did what you taught him. He was ready to carry the message to a person he thought was probably suffering, and that's what he did. And that's a hard story for me to tell you because, Eric, he died drunk. The man that brought me the message of Alcoholics Anonymous that saved my ass died drunk. But I can tell you why. Because I know now, I didn't know then. You know why? Because Eric stopped doing the things he was telling me to do. That's why old-timers drink. Don't you know that? Hey, the core problem of my alcoholism was selfishness and arrogance. I get to the point in my mind where I can graduate. And I don't have to do what you have to do. And buddy, I'm going to tell you what. The first time I think that, I am jockeying for my place out the door. Well, so I went to the household. Okay. You know, treatment, halfway houses, things like that. There's no special one. There's no 5-star one. But the difference was the student was different. I was broken and terrified. I'm like, well, you got to get willing. You just got to get willing. Willing my ass. I'm broken. I'm terrified. But I'll tell you what happened. That desperation. I want to live. If I got a chance, I'd like to live. Became willingness. Now, how'd that happen? Well, I'll tell you how it happened. I'm desperate. I don't know nothing. I'm scared to death. I don't trust me. For the first time in my life, the last guy I want to call shots is me. I don't want that. That ends up real bad. Midas in reverse, you know? So, I'm in there, and I'm going to follow directions. I'm going to meetings. Man, I'm going to tell you what. You ever heard of the household? I don't know. It is AA boot camp. You will eat, drink, sleep, AA. Not inner child, not ditto sheets, not anything. You will get the book. You will get in there, and you will work steps. You'll be in a meeting every night. And anyway, if you don't like it, that's fine with us. Pack your stuff. 5 people wanted your bed when we gave it to you, so get the hell out. It's just exactly what I needed. Oh, and by the way, it's something you don't see. It's rare anymore. I've been around long enough to tell you this, is all the staff were recovering alcoholics. The counselors were not PhDs. They weren't social workers. They were old, crusty AAs. And they did not fool with you. And without that, I got to tell you what, don't, look, I'm a very sick and crazy guy. Don't give me an angle to shoot. I'll shoot it, even if it hurts me. I'm not okay. But I can follow directions. I have the wherewithal at least to understand and follow directions. Okay, and that's all I needed. I'm going to tell you how hard this whole deal is. Are you ready? Anybody here know Betty Crocker? You know Betty Crocker? Betty Crocker makes cake mixes, right? You ladies know this, right? Well, the reason Betty Crocker makes cake mixes that continue to sell, and she started in the 30s, kind of like what we did, is they're good. They work, you know? And what Betty Crocker says is the same thing that we say. Did you know there's a spiritual component to Betty Crocker? And I'm going to tell you what it is. Betty Crocker says if you want this beautiful chocolate cake with the icing that flips and all this, make your mouth. I don't even like sweets, and it'll make my mouth water. You know what I'm saying? She says if you want this picture, turn around and do these directions exactly the way I put them out. And you cannot fail. Just like our book says you cannot fail. Right? Change one direction for any reason. What do you get? Right. And that's one of the things that helped me. I don't want to follow my direction. I will listen. And you know, I'm going to meetings and I'm seeing these people staying sober. And now they're staying sober, a lot of good stuff's happening. And they seem happy. And I ain't seen happy. I don't know what happy is yet. But I'm seeing these people, and maybe if I give this a try. I didn't have a lot of faith in me, but I had a hell of a lot of faith in you. So I'm in the household. I'm doing the AA lockstep. Just exactly what a crazy son of a gun like me, arrogant guy needs. Not humbled up. Man, I'll tell you, when I came back in 1983, if you had 10 days, I would listen to you. Man, I ain't for sure on this, man. I'd like to stick around if I can. So we did the steps. Now, I like to talk about the steps. I got a sponsor, and he's like, if you don't go over the steps, that's like inviting somebody to eat and not having no food. You know, so I'm going to go over them. And, and it's not, listen to me, please. Don't respect somebody's time. If some of you out there, you got 40 years, you got 40 years, don't do that. Because I'm sure you've seen some old timers that are assholes, right? Right? It's true, isn't it? Because they got, see, but that's scary. Because they got the arrogant coming back. They don't have to do what you got to do. They're up here. Ooh, get away. That's frightening. I got to do exactly what you got to do, and I'm better for it. No, don't respect the time. Respect what God and that person has done with that time. I'm going to hopefully get to that. First step. I don't know about the most important one. I don't know. You guys be the judge. Only one thing that the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous says about the first step, for we learned. Where do you think we learned that? Right here. One of the reasons I could not accept the fact I was an alcoholic. Is this your first meeting, dear? Your first meeting? First day? Okay. That's okay. I'm going to act like it is. It helps me. Is all the things I heard out there. I didn't know you guys. I didn't understand. What I heard out there was what you are if you're an alcoholic. You know what you are? You're selfish. You're inconsiderate. You don't care about anybody. You're irresponsible. I already hate me. I'm not taking that on board too. Nobody said, no, you got a horrible disease you didn't ask for, and there's certain things you're going to have to do to save your life. Nobody said that. They said, this is not a question about being bad. It's a question about being very sick. Nobody said that except you guys, which is one of the things that saved me. First step. I learned here that I had to concede. Anybody not know what concede means? Concede means to surrender. When they give a concession speech, that means the person's come, I don't know why we lost. We thought we had a good campaign. Concede. Which, by the way, thank God for some old heads. There's some old heads still here. Concede means to surrender. Which all the time, up to 70, 80, was what we were looking for. Not acceptance. You know, there's only one time in the Big Book it talks about acceptance. That's not the acceptance we talk about. It says we had to go on living, drinking, blotting out the misery of our intolerable existence. That's choice one. And choice two, or we had to accept spiritual help. Right? That's what it says. That's the only time. Acceptance is not the key. Surrender is the key. I give up totally. Matter of fact, think about the third step. It doesn't say piecemeal, does it? Admit I was powerless over alcohol. My life was unmanageable. Now, it doesn't matter how you get there. Some people get the second part and they figure out the first part. Some people figure out the first part, they get the second part. Maybe my life's unmanageable because I'm drinking. Yeah. Maybe if I wasn't drinking, my life would be more manageable. It doesn't matter. Were they both true? Yeah. And you know how I know that's the only time it says that about the first step? You know how I know? That's what it says. It says, for this is the first step of recovery. I understand 5th grade English. That's what it says it is. And by the way, who did you have to concede to? Yourself. Not mommy, not the counselor, not your priest. You. You have to get it. And if you don't get it, you're not going to buy in. If you're not going to buy in, you're going to do what you need to do. I have to be able to clear long enough to make the most important decision in my life. 2 says, came to believe that power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And I heard, hey, listen, I don't usually say this, but I'm going to tell you this. I retired and my career was about that sanity and insanity thing, okay? And a lot of people say, oh man, you should have seen me when I did this. So, but you don't know about that. Listen, again, any human being that over imbibes can do some crazy ass stuff, can't they? That's not their crazy. As a matter of fact, Bill Wilson in your book says only alcoholics suffer from a certain type of insanity. Specific to that class and no other human beings. And that is insanity, is the insanity that precedes the first drink. Now I'm sure if we got addicts, the one that precedes the next use. Whatever it is. Whatever gets you. And remember, if we have no defense, no defense against the first use, the first drink, then anytime I think about it without the spiritual life, I'm going to drink. It may take 5 minutes, but I'm going to use. So, came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore. Restore, you guys know what restore is. Restore is to bring back to its original condition as closely as possible, because you can't make new out of old, right? Restore, okay? Where do you think you're going to do that? And by the way, it didn't say God. I think Bill was smart enough to write G-O-D. The first time God appears is 3. Power greater than you. I'm going to tell you what the power greater than you were, at least for me. It's you guys. Come on, think about it. So doesn't matter. I'm new, I'm old, doesn't matter, but I'm having problems. Where am I going to go? And I'll tell you what, if I'm smart, instead of being hip, slick, and cool, I never think about using it. I'm too cool for that. If I open my mouth, there's the key. If I'm humble enough to open my mouth and say, hey, man, I'm not in good shape here. There's some stuff playing on me, and I'm thinking wiggity stuff. Well, who do you think the higher power is going to be? You're going to say, what are you talking about? You're going to say, didn't we go through this before? You're going to say, hey, wait, call, whatever it is. You guys, it's the power of us if I'm smart enough or humble enough to put it out there, and if you're not too busy enough to let me go die. And don't think you don't do it. I've heard people say it. They don't say it around me where I'm at. But if you ever come around me and say, hey, I knew. He's getting ready to go. I know. I'm going to say, well, what did you say to him? So, well, I didn't say anything. Live and let live. No, that's live and let die. You're supposed to say, hey, man, what's going on? Are you crazy? If you guys who understand my disease, you guys I'm sitting in meetings with, won't do that if you won't offend my feelings. To save my life, I am lost. Third step, made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand God. Oh, very hard, very hard. No. Everybody makes a decision all the time to turn my will and my life. Now, if I ask you what your will is for your children, I'll bet you'll know. You know what they'll say? Well, I'd like for them to be safe. I'd like for them to be prosperous. I'd like for them to have a happy life. That's what you want. The reason we do a last will and testament is because you're going to write that stuff down that you want to have happen, because we ain't going to hear from you anymore. It's what you want. And your life, how you will live. That's what you're turning over. Not what you want. As a matter of fact, if you did that third step, it says, we're done with your plans and designs. It's over. You're going to march to a different drummer. We don't care. And I did that. I don't know what I'm doing. They tell me to do it. I get on my knees. I do it. I have a vague intellectual understanding, but I don't know what the hell that really means. They said, it's okay. You keep working the steps. You'll know. And they were right. 4. And I don't suggest you do 4 unless you were serious about 3. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Every recovering person does the same 4-step the same way, right? Not hard, not fun, not hard. Simple program, doesn't mean it's easy, right? So it says, what are your flaws? What are your resentments? What are your fears? What was your sexual conduct? And I got to tell you what, you know why it worked great for me? Because I put that stuff on paper and I was honest about it. And that was a lot of the stuff that was tormenting me, turning in my guts. I was full of shame and guilt, man. I don't know if you know the difference, but maybe, yeah. So I wrote that stuff down, and man, I wrote it down. And I'm over there at the House Hope, and I got a 29-year-old sponsor, and man, he ain't playing around. Stick his bony fingers in my chest, thank God. And so you will get it done. This is the time you're going to be giving it, da-da-da-da-da. And I did. I did the best I could. And then, man, I didn't like it. It wasn't fun. He said, if you got to throw up or cry, go ahead, and then just keep going. And I did. 5th step. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. I hear people say, well, I had to put some good stuff. Where is that in the book? This is not, no, we're dumping this stuff. We're owning and dumping this stuff. Admitted to, by the way, admitted to God. You think God don't know? Yourself. Another human being. I got to tell you what, if I could take a 5th step here, and I got to tell you, you will feel it if you're giving it. But I got to tell you, I'll be there for you. I'll try to relate and support you, but I'm not going to feel your pain. The most important in those 3 is me. Yes, I own this. I did this. This was wrong. 6 and 7 come together. You know how you know that? 5th grade English. That's what it says in the book. We're entirely ready to have God remove. Who? Who remove? I've heard him in meetings, well, I'm working on this defect. I'm like, get the hell away from me, man. We're entirely ready to have. My part, check out the verbs. I'm ready. And I'm going to tell you what, if you did a real 4th and 5th, you're going to be ready. Yeah, God, if you'll take Take this, man. It's killed me all my life. I drink over this stuff. It's misery. Please take it. We're entirely ready to have God remove. And he will do what he wants, when he wants, if he wants. And why does it come together? Humbly asked him. And by the way, that's a change. It said humbly on our knees in the original. Humbly on our knees, asked him to remove them. Because you're going to remove them? You couldn't remove alcoholism when it's killing you. You're going to humbly ask him because he can. You can't. Change your personality. Give me a break. 9, made direct amends. Wait a minute. 8. Let's not skip 8 because 8 and 9 come together. You know how I know that? 5th grade English. He said, now let's look at steps 8 and 9. And 9. That's a conjunctive meaning both. 8, made a list of persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them. Hey guys, guess what? If you keep reading, you know what it says? We have the list when we did our inventory. Wait a minute. Half the steps done when I get there? Yeah, if you're reading your book. You don't have to make a list. It said you had the list. Now, you may not be willing to make amends to them. And amends is not apology. Dictionary. Made direct amends, the list is being made a list. It's done. It says you had it when you did this. Are you willing to make it? Well, no, they did more than they. Keep them out of it. What did you do? This is about you, not Tom and Dick and Susie. 9, made direct amends, wherever, not whenever. Stop reading it in the meetings. It's not whenever. It's wherever. Wherever is a place. Whenever, with an alcoholic making amends, is never. Wherever possible, except to when to do so would injure them or other, and you are not an other. Stop that. So, I'm going to call you up and say, hey, I would sure like to talk to you if you'd give me the time. I know you're probably angry at me. I'd like to meet you at 6 o'clock Wednesday at McDonald's. You say, can't do that, but I can do Tuesday at 5. Fine. And I'm going to get there, and I'm going to talk about what I did. I'm going to tell you exactly why I am here. Whether you know it or not, I'm going to tell you. And I am going to have the means of making that amends if I have it immediately. And before I leave here, I'm going to say, are we good now? Is there anything more we need to talk about? Because I want to clear the deck. I don't want to live with guilt and shame anymore. I want to, court it says, restitution. Did you make them whole again? Now, I can't make them whole, but I can do my damn level best, and God will reward what I'm trying to do. I'm not there to talk for half an hour. I'm not there to talk to them at all. 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Now, when I was new, promptly admit that I was wrong might be in a year or so. I'm not good at that, But this is where I see most recovery people just don't think they need to do that. Right? 10, 11, 12 starts to become fuzzy. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. Well, the promptly admit it we talked about. Continue to take personal inventory. And it says we know how to do that because we did 4. Well, why do I have to take personal inventory about that day? Well, most ladies know about spring cleaning. Spring cleaning is the big one, right? You get right down, you get it all done. And if you do a little bit of dust, a little bit of vacuum, it never becomes that bad again. It's maintenance, right? And by the way, if I've done something, and by the way, it's not hard. It's 24 hours just past, 10 questions in the book. I write them down. It says, did you keep something to yourself that you should talk to somebody else about? I'm calling my sponsor. Hey, man, this son of a gun, man, I'm going to tell you what, if he opens his mouth, okay? Do I need to apologize? Hey, man, you were talking to me. I interrupted you. I shouldn't have done. Why do I do it? Because the next day I got my marching orders of what I need to do to keep straight. I don't need to do that, do I? No. In about 2 years, when you're ready to drink, you can do another spring cleaning and do everything all over again. Why would I do that? 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of the will for it and the power to carry it out. Sought, didn't find. Anybody can definitively tell you about God, get away from them. They'll tell you about other stuff too. There'll be a lot. Sought, I'm seeking the face of God. I want to grow in my understanding and relationship. Sought through prayer and meditation. Why prayer and meditation? Ladies are in here. Guys, I got to tell you what, they got us all over us on this one. Most ladies, and you can prove it from your own experience, know how to communicate. You ever watch a lady on the phone? I watch my wife sometimes. Man, she'll be talking about her cousin's second time removed and what they said at the beauty shop. And on and on. And you know what? They're relational. That's how they're built. They care. They listen. They talk. With us, I'm on the phone with some of my guys over 2 minutes. I'm like, what are we doing here? What's going on? I'm not good. So I'm trying to do the discipline of talking and listening. And I got to tell you guys what? I'm an alcoholic. I'm a lot better talker than a listener. I'm trying. But what I want to do is I want to get some readings for me that are of a spiritual nature to calm me. Meditation is called to quiet and still the mind. And that's hard for me. I'm getting up in the morning, I'm like, right? No. Calm down. You're not going to hear the voice if the committee's gone and you've got your plans, right? I want to grow. So through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious. I've never got unconscious contact. I'm going to ask Bill when I get up there what the hell he meant by that. And it says something there. I don't know if you got it. Praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Now, if I came over here and I said, Jeff, can I have something to eat? You said, yeah, Mike, you can have something to eat. I'll tell you what you can have. You can have a hot dog and you can have some potato salad. But that's the only thing you can have. Anybody not understand what that means? It means don't eat the other shit. Right? Praying only for the knowledge of His will for me and the power to carry it out. Why? Because if you've done this stuff at this point, you got everything else. And maybe the most important one. Having had a spiritual awakening. Had is a past tense verb. Had. Having had a spiritual awakening. And if you know what spiritual awakening or spiritual experience is, what it's defined as is a personality shift has occurred within you that will now allow you to recover. Having had a spiritual experience, we try to carry this message to alcoholics. Now, by the way, alcoholics, that's changed. The original says, carry this message to others, especially alcoholics. That's how it reads. Well, why did it say that? You know what? There's a lot of hurting people out there. I'm 41 years almost here in AA. I'm 35 in Al-Anon. And you know what? I meet some guys that just for whatever reason aren't ready to do the deal. I understand that. But that wife is worried to death. And the children don't know what to do. Am I supposed to ignore that? Well, I'm sorry. I'm in AA. Can't help you. We have a message. We have a message of hope. Having had a spiritual awakening, which means he's gotten in touch with you as a result of what? Being a good guy, right? I sponsor a lot of guys. Maybe that's what it is. Carrying the message. No. None of that. It's great stuff, wonderful stuff. As a result of working the steps. The spiritual change agents are the steps. Not how many meeting makers make it. No, they don't. They go home and shoot themselves in the head. Step workers make it. We try to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And you have to understand what the principles are. The principles are not the steps. The steps embody spiritual principles. Principles like what? Inventory, ego reduction, spiritual relationship with God, helping the next guy or gal, right? Being unselfish, being honest. Those are all the principles. Okay, so what is it like now? I'm going to tell you something. You guys might hate me, but that's okay too. If you don't want my life, there's something wrong with you. It's not the time. I'm still following directions. I'm still doing it. But man, I got a wonderful life. You want to know why? Because I got a wonderful God. And you know what? I'm His favorite. And you know what else? You are too. You are too. He's waiting to be active in your life to bring about the miracles and the happiness that He wants for you. He's your dad. Not your earthly dad, but your dad. Think about that. I'm a married guy. I got a beautiful Al-Anon wife. She's 35 years sober. And let me tell you what, sometimes she's my sponsor. And that's not a crack. Sometimes, I I got one of these women that sometimes she's my rudder. I'm a crazy alcoholic Irish drunk, man. Sometimes I'm crazy. She just goes, Mike, we don't do that. Mike, don't talk that way. Mike, yeah. And you know what I do? Here's something. You ready? I listen to her. She's a rudder. She's my buddy. She's my Al-Anon buddy. I'm gonna tell you what. You want an Al-Anon? You get yourself, like my wife and her girls, a Al-Anon that is a big book step working Al-Anon. Oh, you never pull nothing on them, man. They know what they're talking about too. I'm a grandfather. You know, one of the coolest things in the world is being a grandparent, you know? And I tell you, I got a blessing. God is so good. My sons have never seen me drink. My wife has never seen me drink. I got married at 5 years. My wife has never seen me drink. My children have never seen me drink. And that's probably a good thing, because she says, well, thank God, because I've seen your ass before. Because I can be alcoholic without being drinking. The alcoholism started when I went wah. Didn't require alcohol. I'm a happy guy. I'm retired. Worked in the field. I'm retired. I love people. Love meeting new people. We got an RV here a while ago. We go all over the place. Man, I'm telling you how smart I am. You remember this past January? We decided we're going to Texas. Right? Sound pretty good, doesn't it? Went to Texas. It was 18 degrees, if you remember. We had to come back to Ohio to warm up. It was terrible. But we're out there and we're doing our thing, and it's me and her and the dogs, you know. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of seeing my people die. I'm sick and tired of it. I hate the disease. I'm sick and tired of seeing my people die. But I'm telling you what, I even hate worse that they come to us and they hear no hope and no answer. If we're going to write on the damn board, hope is found here, you better be the person that can carry that, not your buddy. Remember responsibility state, and I am responsible. In order to do that, you're going to have to do the work yourself, which, by the way, is not a curse, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. Anyway, I probably wore out my welcome. I'm not over that, man. Thank you. I'm serious. I'm all about families getting well together. You know, I really am. This is a very, very cool thing. I'm going to talk to Jeff about why he didn't let me know about this earlier, but it's wonderful. And you guys allowed me to come and share recovery. So I hope I really didn't wear out my welcome. I really am touched and humbled that you will allow me to come and share with you. And never my hope to offend anybody or mislead anybody. And if you feel like I've done that, please, please, we're brothers and sisters. Love and tolerance is our code. If I have offended you or there's something you disagree with, just come and talk to me. I might be loud, but I'm a nice guy, you know? But that's not my point. My point is to try to send a message of hope to people who may not have hope. I don't know what else to say, so you know what that means. Don't say nothing. My sponsor says if you don't know what to say, then shut up. So that's what I'm going to do. I thank you for being here with me, and I pass. Thank you, brother.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to be met.
You got mine.
Thanks.
Oh, for a cup of coffee.
Look at that.
Hey. On behalf of Families in Recovery, we'd like to give you a T-shirt. Come and
Thank
speak
you,
with
brother.
us.
I appreciate you.
Love you, man.
15 years is too long for us to stay apart, my brother.
That's right. Well, I just want to thank you for coming over and speaking with us, especially on a short notice.
Thank you.
I'm sure Mike will be around for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of opening the floor with so many people here.